and welcome back to Free for All Friday on Focal Point, AF for Talk. Brian Fisher is my name, your congenial, convivial, and amiable host. As always, honored and pleased to welcome to our Focal Point studio three special guests, Wil and Meeke Addison and Christian Westbrook. All of them are part of the Urban Family Communications Network, a division of American Family Association, which includes Urban Family Talk, which is a new network that we have begun here at AFA to get the message of conservative values, pro-family values, pro-faith values into the urban communities, into the black community in particular. And I was just excited. Christian made a presentation yesterday to our entire staff about an outreach of Urban Family Communications that I just loved hearing Christian and Meeke and Wil talk about this. So I'm going to begin with you, Christian. And our folks don't know even what I'm talking about. So tell us about this so sophisticated outreach, where the idea came from, and what you did with these girls.
So Sophisticated is an etiquette class. It was a 4-week class that actually expanded over to an extra week, which made it 5 weeks, where we did outreach in the community, trying to help stabilize, build a standard, and to build a stronger culture for our younger, urban community, younger urban girls. And in the process, we taught such things as giving and receiving compliments, saying please and thank you, setting proper dining settings, at table settings, posture, the way you communicate effectively, and just a lot of things that build self-esteem and self-respect for the young girls.
So proper table settings.
Yes.
So my wife is going to want to enroll me in that because I have no idea what I'm doing when we have guests over. So anyway, so you bring these girls together from the urban community and just really help them to build some skills that just help them to competently and persuasively, convincingly kind of navigate the modern world. So how did you find the girls that signed up for the program? How did you let people know that the program was available? Well,
we used social media, which is the biggest thing to use now. Facebook, Twitter, anything that you can just use a free, way to get it out there, as well as flyers and just local businesses, and also just having it plastered, we have the radio, of course, so that was good too.
Word of mouth always works really well.
Works, best form to get yourself out there. But we did word of mouth and Facebook and some flyers in local areas to get the exposure.
And we sent mailers out to the local churches as well.
We did.
And so you had a sort of a graduation ceremony celebration here just recently. Tell us just a little bit about that.
That was 2 Fridays ago. It was a really awesome time. That was held at the Bancorp South Arena here in Tupelo, Mississippi. So it was a really nice setting, had a formal dinner for all the girls to get dressed up in the colors that they chose, of black and pink. So all the girls were dressed in formal, nice after 5 dinner dresses. They were at the front. They had their little dance that they came into, a little strut that they were taught, and they were just so proud, to be able to do that. And it was such a drastic change. So they were able to sell tickets and get their family and friends involved, and just to bring the community in to see what those girls were taught and what they learned, and were able to showcase their talents and their skills.
A couple of additional questions before I move on to Meeke. What's the plan moving forward? Tell us a little bit about what you're going to do with these girls over the coming year. And then is there an effort to take this? I mean, I think a lot of people listen to this and, man, I would love to have the opportunity for my daughter to go through something like that. So what are you thinking about for the future?
Well, for the future, as recent or quick as September, we're going to start So Sophisticated coaching. So that's going to be once a month. The third Saturday of each month, we will have a 2-hour session with the girls that were in this class, and other girls that weren't able to register for the last class we just had. They'll be able to come every month and just download to us as mentors, the other 3 instructors that we had, and just stay in their lives as a constant for someone, for a point of contact, a point of reference, somebody to keep encouragement with the young girls to do that. And also, we are getting curriculum together and other information to have available to send out available for whoever wants to implement this in their church, their school, their homes, however you want to, be able to participate and partake in that, and just spread it worldwide. We want to go as big as we can go with this.
Well, that's an exciting concept, and I got to believe it's got that kind of potential, because I think everybody that hears about this just resonates with them. And Meeke, you were a part of kind of brainstorming this idea at the beginning, getting it rolling. And one of the things, Christian mentioned this yesterday, but let me ask you, first of all, why did you come up with this idea? And then I want you to follow up by talking about the women that you had provide the leadership, and what was significant about the kind of women about the women that were doing the mentoring in this program. So where did the idea come from, and then what was unique about the women doing the mentoring?
Yeah, I appreciate that question, Brian. The idea really stemmed from the fact that there's a deficit in the Black community, that you have generation after generation of specifically, for the sake of what we're talking about, young Black girls who've not had modeled for them what it means to be a woman and what it means to be feminine, what it even means to be godly. And so when Christian and I sat down to talk, one of the things, and our audience can't see Christian, our nickname for her is Dainty C, because she, I think she walks around with like a little teacup in her hand, and but she really cares about etiquette. I care about etiquette too, Brian, but I'll tell you something. The thing that I started discussing with Christian is I care about communication. I care about the fact that you'll have a young woman who will go into a job interview and not be able to communicate, who doesn't know how to shake a hand, who doesn't know how to make eye contact, who doesn't feel like they have a right to be where they are, who feels like they are a victim. And so one of the things we wanted to do was to really empower these young girls and say, listen, your right to be here comes from God. You know what I'm saying? You're really not owed anything, but you do have a right to be here. And the way that you let people know that you believe that is you walk in with confidence. The way you do that is that you make eye contact. When you say your name as if you like it. So that people hear your name and they don't have to ask you again, say that again. And so we worked on that a lot. You'd be surprised. A lot of times, I think there was a stereotype of Black girls in our society that they're hard, that they're tough. But really, there's a lot of insecurity, Brian, and there's a lot of brokenness because the families are broken. And so what we wanted to do was to model in front of them stable families, happily married Black women in the community who love Jesus, who are successful in their areas of work, right? And who give glory to God for that. And so when you put that in front of a young, impressionable Black girl and she sees that and she goes, you look just like me. And so if you can do that, then I can do that. And basically you're saying that to her without saying that to her. And so that's really what we wanted to do.
And another characteristic of the women that were mentors in this program was their personal lives, their domestic lives, their domestic arrangements.
That's right. They were all married. And as we kind of looked at it, we were picking people who are in our sphere, Brian. So we were picking women that we could trust with these girls. We were picking women who were professional business owners. Right. We picked some stay-at-home moms. We picked some fitness experts, looking at these people. And what we realized, even as Christian and I talked about it later, we just kind of thought, well, praise the Lord that these are the kind of women that we're surrounded by. So it wasn't a far stretch. We weren't trying to dig up women who are happily married and love their husbands, who understand biblical submission, who are confident in who they are. That happened to be the people that we are surrounded by, and that is a blessing.
And I've just got to think, this doesn't have to have anything to do with race or ethnic background or anything. I think every young man or woman grows up with this hunger in their heart. They want to be happily married.
Yeah.
They want to be in a relationship that's stable, that's satisfying. They want to have a companion for life. They want that relationship to be rewarding. They want it to be something that's going to last. They would love to be able to build a family with that husband or with that wife, to have children, to have that be an intact and happy home. So when these young women, when they see their mentors are living out that dream. Not that marriage and family is perfect, but they see these people that are living out the dream that they've got deep in their heart. They say, look, that can be possible for me too if I make the right choices at this stage in my life.
And and let me just say this, Brian, because you're right, and I understand what you're saying, that this does transcend race and ethnicity. However, in the Black community, there is a thought among Black children that marriage is for white people. And so the reason I have to make that distinction is to say, yes, you're right. There is something that is built inside all of us to live out God's model. That is very accurate. But there is an attack. There is a strategic attack in the Black community on family. And it's been so effective for so long. You see the destruction of fathers in the home. You see the breakdown of communication between mom and daughter. And now you have grandmothers at 30-something years old, because kids are having kids younger and younger. And so when there's a breakdown and there's a deficit there, what you have to say is marriage is not a white standard. You really do have to say that, because I don't want to say that's what kids are taught, but I think it's what they see, and I think it's what they start to develop as they're thinking, just because dad is not there.
Well, and Meeke, let me shift to Wil, because you and Christian, the other women that are mentoring these girls, they're producing a cadre of girls now that are poised, that are confident, that are elegant,
yes,
that know how to conduct themselves, and these are girls are going to be out there looking for a guy.
We want the guy
that's
looking for
going
them
somewhere. So, Will, that kind of puts the pressure right on you, my man. So are you guys thinking about doing something that's similar for the young men in the urban community?
Yeah, similar, but I think it would be a little different because we have to communicate in different ways. It might not be a thing of where they will sit down and just listen to us speak, but I'm looking at something, talking to Pastor Joseph Parker, who also works here, of doing the same type of things, talking about abstinence, talking about what it means to be a man, using videos, using music, and things like that really draw men in and having hopefully the same effect that they had with So Sophisticated.
Are you gonna skip the part with the teacup?
No, I don't think we'll be
little dainty finger in the air.
I don't think we'll be doing that. Yeah.
Well, that'd be an exciting thing to see both of these kind of move forward, kind of on parallel tracks. And again, I got to think that guys, I mean, there's something they want. Obviously, guys are driven with certain urges, maybe that are stronger at certain ages than at others. But I think that's just a hunger in the human heart to find a quality woman who will be a companion for life, with whom I can raise a family. And you're going to be working to turn out guys that are going to be good mates for women.
And it
like
has
that.
to be modeled. They have to see it. A lot of young guys haven't seen that. And so it's important to have strong men that love their wives, that's able to present that to them so they can see that it's possible, and so that's what we want to do.
Well, more information, if people want to get more information, Christian, let me go back to you to close out the loop here. If people want to get more information about this project, So Sophisticated, where can they go?
urbanfamilytalk.com.
urbanfamilytalk.com.
Yes.
And Will, I assume Urban Family Talk, is that where people can get more information about the Urban Family Talk Network and Urban Family Communications and the whole thing?
That's right.
Okay. Well, my guests, honored to have in our studio Will and Meeke Addison, who head up the Urban Family Communication Division of AFA, Christian Westbrook, who works with them in that project. Just exciting stuff that you guys are working on, I really appreciate you taking time to drop by and chat with us today.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Brian.
much.
It's a pleasure.
You are listening to Focal Point on AFR Talk. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Don't go anywhere.